Definitely passes the sniff check. But will this fix the absolute mess that is Cities of Sigmar? Let's talk about it. Guys, I am going to try to keep this as short and sweet as possible, but I do have a lot of feelings about this, and I also recently got back from a Taylor Swift concert, and so that was like a power up for me, and I'm feeling very unhinged, but we're gonna try to keep it short and sweet. My name is Stephanie. This is Orion's Built Minis. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome, and for the rest of you, welcome back. In this video, I am going to be reviewing the Cities of Sigmar box set that was sent to me by Games Workshop, and I'm going to do this in two ways. The first way is going to be objectively from a model and hobbying perspective. What can you expect with this box, and what is my opinion of this box? And then I'm going to kind of go into what I think of Cities of Sigmar in general. And I do not play this army, so this is not going to be a super tactical based analysis, but I would consider myself to be invested in everything that is Age of Sigmar, and so I'm just going to share my thoughts as someone who came from Warhammer Fantasy and then had to work through a lot of feelings when Age of Sigmar came out and everything changed. So yeah. So I'm now gonna just sit this down. I have been holding this for a week and a half. It's an amazing book, okay? I mean that, like, the binding is nice, the gold pages are nice, it smells incredible, but okay. Let's talk about these models. You guys, these are the human models that I did not know that I needed until they came out. They are actually breathtaking. Just something about good old humans in this crazy setting that just does something for my heart. And these are humans done well. These sculpts are incredibly inclusive as far as skin color, skin tone, hairstyles, sex, age, and just like diversity in general. There are models in this kit that have bumps in their noses, okay? Like, that is what we need. We need people that look like actual people who have different body types and who are represented in this setting. And this was just done so well. As far as building them goes, you have so many options to customize your little dudes. Like, you are going to make this box completely your own. Your box will not look like anyone else's box. What do I mean by that when I say that? So, oh my gosh, sorry, I have a terrible cold. I don't know if you can tell. First of all of the heads are interchangeable, and all of the arms are customizable. So these are not push fit models. The legs are not customizable and the torsos are not customizable. They're all, for the most part, pretty much like the way, like, single pose torsos and legs, but you would never know that because of all of the different head options and all of the different ways that you can pose the arms and choose their weapons. As far as like leaders of units, like your champion, your standard bearer, your battle priest, there are two sculpt options for each of those. So you have a more masculine sculpt and then you have a more femme sculpt. And so even though you're going to be building 20 steel helms just in this box alone, the two squads of 10 are not going to look alike. You can do the mask champion for one and the femme champion for the other, and then on top of that you can obviously switch the heads out for whatever you want. They can have helmets, they cannot have helmets. Like, it's just, it really scratches that customizing itch without giving you like the kit bashing headache, and I truly appreciated that. Cavalry are extremely customizable. The pieces just go together so easily, and all of the heads for the horses, all of their tails, everything about them is interchangeable. So even if you're running multiple units, it won't look that way. You are not going to have a single repeat sculpt on the table, which is something that's really important to me personally. For your marshal, you have different poses that you can choose. You have the stoic holding his helm, looking into the distance option. You have the leaning on the shield option. And I really liked the vibe of the holding his helm look, but I ended up going with the weight on his shield look because I like painting shield and I thought that that would be really fun. You can give him a sword, you can give him a hammer, like it's fantastic. There are multiple head options, like I said, it's just, so much fun. I will say there is a lot of cape action going on in the box in general, and I didn't need to gap fill or anything like that. Like for this, all I did was just line it with plastic glue, let it dry, and then give it a good scrape, and it turned out fine. They're perfectly smooth. I mean, if you really wanted to like take a magnifying glass and analyze it, is it as clean as it possibly could have been? No, but for me, it was just fine. So that is what I recommend. Get yourself a good plastic glue. You will not regret it. Oh, one thing about Games Workshop is that they can put together an army set, okay? These army sets are some of my favorite boxes to receive and review because they just have so much, and it really feels cool to have everything matchy-matchy with like your troops and your book and your cards and everything. As far as what the army set actually comes with, you have your troops, you have your book, you have your cards, and it comes with these amazing tokens. So for me, I need all of the tokens. I need all of the visual representation of rules possible, because the way that my brain works, if I do not have that physical representation in front of me on the table, I will just forget that it exists. And so for this specific army, you have the orders mechanism where your leaders can dish out orders to your units, and then you put the little tokens that they come with face down next to that unit, and then it's kind of like a surprise for your opponent, and you flip them over, and then that's the order that is given, which are triggered through various circumstances in the game. I freaking love that. This is coming from someone who plays against Imperial Guard a lot in 40k. And at the beginning of the game, my husband is always like, okay, so I'm issuing these commands and like this is gonna happen and this buffs this, and it'll go on for like 20 minutes, and I'm just like, I forget everything that you said. Literally the second it popped out of your mouth, it just went in one ear and out the other. So I love this system that they've come up with the tokens and the flipping and everything. I think it's going to pan out really, really well. On that note, I picked this up again. Let's talk about this. Oh God. Okay. Okay, as I mentioned, I am a Warhammer Fantasy player that completely hopped off the train when Age of Sigmar came out because the whole thing left a very bad taste in my mouth. I'm talking about everything from death being split into multiple factions. I could make an entire video about this. Certain units from certain armies, I'm not gonna name names, but certain units from certain armies getting their entire fleshed out army and battle tome, and every single model in that army looking identical. Like, what? Then one of the biggest changes that really just put me off was that all of these beautiful, amazing, fully fleshed out armies got consolidated into Cities of Sigmar. And let me see if I can list them. Okay, so we have the Wood Elves, we have the Dark Elves, we have the High Elves, we have the Dwarden, I'm gonna say Dwarves from here on out. And then of course the humans are all clumped together into the Cities of Sigmar umbrella. And I know a lot of people really like that because they like the idea of like these allied forces coming together to fight under the name of Sigmar under a unified goal and like all of this. Okay, fantastic. But I think that that is what allied forces as the game rule is like meant for. Like, if you want to have different armies coming together, then have them be allies and run them together, but they should each have their own battle tome. Come on, you know, like it felt wrong. And please, I'm just gonna like insert this lore disclaimer because I know people are gonna be like typing up these long paragraphs about lore and why this happened. I am actually semi well read when it comes to Age of Sigmar lore. I don't know everything there is to know, but I understand like why this happened. But just because there is lore that explains why something occurred doesn't mean I can't be upset about how it went down, and doesn't mean that we weren't done dirty. And despite always being interested in Cities of Sigmar, the already daunting task of like putting together a list just seemed even more crazy with all of the sub-factions and all of the different races within one army. Like it just put me off, and I never got into it. So where do we stand now with this new book? The focus of this book is very obviously humans. They have completely revamped the entire range. They have booted out a lot of the old human models, and they are actually encouraging proxying of those models in their Warhammer community article, which is unusual, but okay. Wood elves and high elves have been completely booted out, but they are going to be coming back in the old world. That was confirmed also on Warhammer community. Okay, sucks if you're one of the Wood Elf players and High Elf players who are going to have to rebase their army again if they want to be playing like the newest versions of games. Like, okay. This book is kind of like a mop that is going to clean up this mess, I think, with the focus going back to humans. The dwarves are still in here. The dark elves are still in here. But it does seem a lot more centralized on the humans, which is the way that I think that it should be. The humans have more orders that are available to them. They have more relics. They have more of all of the add-ons. And then, you know, they did throw a couple at dark elves and the dwarves as well. So you can still run those. I am very curious to see how balanced it will be, because for me, I have this idea of like having humans and dwarves fighting alongside each other, but I just wonder, like, would that list work out? You know what I mean? The way that it seems is that you cannot just pick the units that you like and that you think look cool, put them on the table and expect to win a game. And I'm not a tournament player or anything, so I don't care too much about having like a super competitive list, but also getting smeared by your opponent every single game because they have this like perfectly like decked out synergized list that's following the current meta, and they found it on a subreddit and they're just like replicating it, so it's like perfect, and like you have all their statistics and like their probability of winning is this percent based off of this is like, oh my god, that just sucks the fun right out of the game for me personally. But like, I feel like when there are people like that and lists like that, do you have any chance of having fun with an army that just follows the rule of cool? I don't know. Like, these are the questions that I have, especially if that army is a Cities of Sigmar force that includes dwarves and humans and like it's mixed. Like, I just don't know. So I guess it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. Having that central focus back on the humans, I think, is a move in the right direction, honestly. And it is a lot more digestible, because right now, if you're going to run a full human army, you only have one choice of troops for battle line. And that is really refreshing. I am a single troop option kind of gal. This is coming from someone who plays Leagues of Votann, and it's a new range, so there wasn't a whole lot of variety. I found that took a lot of the stress off of building a list, because this is what you have and this is what you get. And that's just like simple. I don't know. What are my personal plans now that this has come out and is on my doorstep? The only logical thing to do is to build and paint up a Greywater Fastness force, paint them until I'm tired of them, and then go back to painting my lizardmen in peace. Whenever I do a box review, I always try to build up multiple models and units from the box and put some paint on them, just so that when I'm reviewing the box, I feel qualified to like recommend the models or not. But gosh, something about these felt different. Like, I really enjoyed not only building them because of all of the options you have, but I am having so much fun painting them. And no, I'm not starting another army. I am simply painting a lot of models from the same range in an organized color scheme. Because I'm not very good at painting yellow, this has been a real challenge for me, and I have been absolutely loving it. If you want to see more of what I have been working on and what I will continue to work on from this box, you should follow me on Instagram. I will link it below. It's down there at the bottom. It always is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I always said when I started my YouTube channel that I was not going to ever ask people to subscribe. I was just gonna let it happen, because I feel like people don't listen anyway. If you ask for someone to subscribe, they're only gonna do it if they want to. But yeah, you should subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it a lot. It helps a lot. I know that a lot of my viewers come back and like are commenting and stuff, but they're not subscribing. It really just helps boost my videos and get them out there. And yeah, I just appreciate every single one of you. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Side note, look at this fat stack of cards because of how many units there are. God. I want to like make it rain. Like I'm feeling the urge in my fingertips to like, but I don't want to clean it up. I'm gonna do it. Don't ever question my dedication to this channel, okay? No, okay, no, I changed my mind. No.